Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And on today's episode, we are going to be looking at some of the oldest golden artifacts ever found. And to my surprise, because I genuinely didn't know this, it was found in a 5th millennium BC grave, so roughly about 7,000 years ago. So
Yep.
quite a good bit of time in the past.
The graves are located in Bulgaria, of all places, and they were first found in the 70s. And it's taken them 50 years to get it from the archaeologist trowel to the public eye.
That's got to be some sort of record. How did they do it so quickly?
Yeah.
Uh,
It's yeah, this is a very beautiful example of what happens when a major find is found. It is kept very quiet. It is studied extensively. I believe excavations on the site were carried out from 1972 to 1991, and even then, 30 years later, only then is it all gone through the processing machine of lab work and investigation.
Yeah, a lot of it too is this. There's a definite lag in the field from the time that the excavations end to the time that the reports get generated because the research is ongoing, the tests are ongoing. Although I just noticed a really funny and kind of hilarious thing about the image that they have on the top, which is a grave.
Yep,
You see all the gold that is present.
yep,
Do you see the gold between the legs?
yep.
You know exactly what that is, and I'm going to continue off from there. So
We don't need to draw attention to that,
this
Justin.
was a really interesting Copper Age site. So they've already got the ideas of metalworking down. Copper is a very soft metal, which you can do by either forging and making an alloy or by just beating the absolute hell out of it with a hammer till it takes the shape you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Gold is very similar.
Copper and gold are two of the few metals around that you can shape by beating with rock,
Yes.
which makes them some of the earliest ornaments and tools. It also helps that they're shiny and people are attracted to it.
Yes, and humans like shiny things. Humans like decorating themselves, whether it's with pigmentation, clothing, or ornamentation, which took place in the form of gold. And as it was in the past, as it is today, it's a very clear indication of wealth because it takes a lot of money, a lot of effort to be able to gather that much raw material at once.
Well, definitely. And one of the fun things about this graveyard and about Grave 43 is how it breaks its own rules. So the graveyard in general contains a number of what are known as cenotaphs, which are graves for without bodies. They're graves for people who are buried elsewhere. This is sort of tomb of the unknown soldier type thing. There's no corpse in the grave; it's an empty grave, and those ones, as a general rule in the graveyard, were found to have more gold than the ones with actual skeletons in them, with the exception being Grave 43, which was somehow the richest in the entire graveyard and had a body. It's just like, it's like the graveyard right here is breaking its own rules, if we can even say the graveyard had rules, by making Grave 43 the wealthiest gold laden burial in human history, or I should say
Yeah.
the earliest
I mean,
and
to
the
be fair,
wealthiest
this
of them.
is one of the earliest examples of gold, so I would hope and maybe assume that there would be in higher numbers, like less demand. It's the fresh new resource, so it's everywhere kind of deal.
Justin, when has humanity ever not flocked to the newest, latest thing? Have you seen an iPhone?
They've lost their steam, but yes, I know what you're talking about. Humans like the shiny new thing,
Yeah,
even when that was gold.
yeah, yeah. Was it 3,000 items made from gold with a total weight of 13.2 pounds?
Holy.
Yeah. You can see, I believe in the image, you can see a lot of them are small pressed plates of gold, so they are very thin.
Just hammered down, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What's truly impressive to me is the beadwork.
Yeah.
Just because of what you have to do just to get the gold to make, to make one, make it an orb, two, make it an orb with a hole in it. That takes a lot of focus and a lot of time.
It's
Yeah.
interesting too because this site obviously took a very long time to excavate. The original archaeologist was Mikhail Lazarov, who directed the excavations from set 1972 to set 1976, and then Ivan Ivanov, who directed them from 1972 to 1991, which that correlates with the fall of the Soviet Empire, so or the Soviet Union.
Yeah, yeah, the Soviet Union, uh, which does tend to mark a lot of changes in basically every position: government archaeologist, government head of state, government everything. Giant reshuffling of the deck. Um, I do, I do find it very fun that it is uh, it is Varna where these are found. In Bulgaria. Now, Varna is Bulgaria's Black Sea port and is one of the most prosperous cities in the nation.
Oh,
So these people knew where to live.
they do talk about the item I mentioned earlier in this article, by the way.
Oh yeah.
They refer to it as a sheath of solid gold. So he was
Hmm.
buried with a scepter, which was a symbol of high rank and spiritual power, wore a sheath of gold over the phallus.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting. It's obviously a sign, but wow, that's quite the find.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It is very interesting. What is also very interesting is the fact that this is a male burial, as very clearly indicated by the sheath, and most of the elaborate burials in Varna belong to women and children, which marks this grave as even more of a standout among the rest of the bodies. Something very intentionally was done here that was not typical of of grave practices, and that usually means there's a very important reason for that. So love to find what it is.
It's kind of interesting too in the article. This article surprisingly is pretty robust in that regard, but they do talk about actual the dichotomy and the differentiation between male and female burials, along with child burials, with the men laying on their backs and women being placed in the fetal position. Um, Also, along with the different amulets and different symbols that were buried with them, shows a certain level of stratigraphy within the society, social stratification between the genders and groups. There's a lot that you can inference about the culture and society purely based on the grave goods, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this beyond the quick clickbaity title of earliest gold found in human history.
Yeah, definitely. It is. There's a lot of things to talk about too. They even talk about how the gold would have got there with Varna's location. It is ideal for trade routes both across the Black Sea and into the Mediterranean, uh, making it an ideal. It's an ideal port. And you know, 7,000 years ago, it may very well have been in use for that.
And then a couple of cool other things that it mentions is it talks about the fact that climate change could have been one of the downfalls, turning a lot of their fertile areas into marshlands and swamps. And then they also mention one of our personal favorites, the incursion of horse riding warriors from the steppes.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Horses just like emerge from the Russian steppe, and things start going wrong for everyone else. it's it really is quite an interesting thing. It happens time and again throughout history. The most famous examples of these are the Mongolians who go southward towards China, and the Huns who move westward into the Roman Empire.
But with the mention of the Mongols, I think that's a great point for us to wrap up. We love our Mongols. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Be sure to tune in.